Hey everybody, it's a beautiful sunny day in September 2nd, and um, I think today we're gonna look at a couple of late wins because I'm very excited about them. We're looking at them right now. These are my straw flowers. I have never grown them before, and it took forever for them to get to this point, so I really wasn't sure if they were going to do anything. I also have snapdragons down here. I guess they may have been useful to have some kind of staking for them. I've never really seen snapdragons staked up, and we used to have some that would grow every year, but they died off, and we never staked them. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's the first year and they're still a little um, weak. Hard to say, but beautiful, beautiful, loving these straw flowers. These are also the tall, I believe, the tall mountain snapdragon. So maybe because they're taller than what normally would be, maybe that's why they're folding over a little bit. The looks like we have another couple of straw flowers that are in the process. And then coming over here, this I think is a blanket flower right here. Then we've got salvia that's come up. Really, really lovely. Always love to see that purpley blue color in the garden. And then we've also got our aster. This is supposed to be a king aster, I believe apricot. And look at that. Oh, I'm so glad that these came up and bloomed. Um, got some more that are coming. I had two of them in here, and they seem to be thriving. Now, the interesting thing about these is where they're located. I have them here essentially adjacent to our back porch. They have been in mostly shade. They do get late sun, so I don't know if these would have been bigger, bloomed sooner if I had actually had them in the garden proper. But I kind of feel like where they are is probably for the best, because then they don't have that direct sunlight, which has just been brutal in the last few weeks to months. So, you know, this is where I put them, and I was too lazy to move them and try and find a place for them elsewhere. But at the same time, maybe that was a plus. So, very excited about that. Now, something that I don't know, I think I'm on the fence about are the dwarf tomatoes. So we can see here we've got some dwarf tomatoes. I don't remember. All right, bees. This one is having a little bit of trouble because I don't have a thing to hold it up. This one is the dwarf goldfinch, which, if you remember from previous videos, I had a heck of a time with getting it to even germinate. So we've got the dwarf snakebite here. We've got some that have come in. I'm gonna need to harvest those and kind of see how do they taste. Over here we have the Wilpenna. Lot of blossom end rot on these. Not just the Wilpenna, just on the dwarf in general. I don't know if that's because I've done them in pots, if there's something that I've done to encourage that to happen. Not really sure. I think next year, one of the things that I learned from the current garden, I am only going to do one of each variety, which will hopefully open up room, and we'll take whichever ones of the dwarfs that we like the most, and we'll probably put them in a raised bed, with other tomatoes. This is the Laura's Bounty. Haven't tried any of those just yet, but you know, we've got a little bit coming on. Over here is the Adelaide Festival. And this one, I've had a couple that have come up to ripening, but yeah, see, they start to get that blossom end rot on the bottom. Beauty King. I don't think I have any actual tomatoes on there. No, we've got a fairly vigorous plant, but no tomatoes. And that could be that there were some on there, and again, they were damaged because of blossom end rot, and so they got tossed. This one, there is a tomato right down there. I'm trying to see if I can find where its thing is. Oh, this one's actually a Beauty King too. So let's see if we can get closer. Sorry, I'm tricking you all over the place. It's a funky looking thing, so that's probably me. It's probably not the tomato itself. Then we've got this guy. Looks like we do have something that's ripening over on the right, and it is also an Adelaide Festival. So there were a few that, just from the look of the tomato on the website where I got the seeds, which was, I think, Victory Seed Company, I made the decision that I wanted to do multiple plants. Now this guy is another snake bite. This one, I think, is our Storybrooke heart. And this one's been terrible with blossom end rot. Yeah, I'm really hoping. I see there's a few down there. I'm really hoping that we can get at least one or two that doesn't have that on there, but I don't know if that'll be in our future. I believe that this other one over here is also, yeah, Storybrooke heart. And then last but not least is this guy. And there it is, the Russian Swirl. So from a standpoint of, did we get all of the dwarf tomatoes to germinate? Yes, we did. Some with a little bit of struggle, but yes. Are the plants vigorous and producing? For the most part, yes. Yes, again. Have we been able to harvest viable fruit? That one is more of a hit or miss. We do have fruit on almost all of them. Whether they remain viable to harvest point is yet to be seen for most of those. So like I said, it's kind of 50-50. And again, I don't know how much of that is my inexperience, my choice to put them into pots, because there are definitely pros and cons to going that route. The tomatoes themselves, not really sure. Okay, let me get over here into the shade. So another, I'm going to count it as a win, is the fact that we finally got started on our the second part of our garden expansion project, which was taking down both of the old raised beds. We've gotten pretty far in the process. We're a little bit at a standstill because we kind of need to figure out exactly what we want to do over here. Initially, the thought was we're going to just take everything out, raise it to the ground, get our, fabric down so that we can suppress the weeds and grass. Put some kind of bark nuggets or mulch or whatever on the top so that it kind of matches this main area. But those posts are in there really, really well. And B, I was thinking maybe we can either clear out or level off the section that is bordered currently, and either cover that with the plastic, which I'm not 100% keen on that just at the moment, or take some of these old boards that came from the beds and create a platform on top of at least one of those, and then put our new beds that are going to go there. They're the round Birdie's beds on that. I'm really kind of liking the idea of that. I just don't know if we have the execution chops to make it work, and how we would keep the weeds down if we go that route. We would still need to put the plastic or fabric down around it, but that does potentially create more opportunities for weeds, where the fabric would meet the platform area. And I don't know if it really makes sense to then, just kind of go up and over the platform if we're going to put that in. So I'm a little bit stuck on that. What do you guys think? What would you do if you had this particular area and some of the options that I've mentioned? I'd love to get people's opinions and ideas. Maybe you have a different idea that we haven't thought of that would work and would fit with our skill set. Yeah, I really, really, really need to get this section completed, because towards the end of this month, because this is September 2nd, I am expecting our garlic to start to arrive, our seed garlic, and I need to get it in the ground, or I'd like to get it in the ground no later than the end of October. So that gives us a month to 2 months to really get this done. The other piece is September tends to be kind of a transition month for us in Oregon, especially where I live, just outside of Portland. So the sun and nice days are going to start to dwindle, and we're going to get into more cooler and rainier weather patterns. And obviously, if I'm going to be working and creating stuff in the garden, I would really rather it be nice and dry while we're doing construction type stuff. So there is that. But still, I'm considering this a win, because with how hot it was last month, I really wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get out here and get into doing any major, work in this particular area. Getting into the garden was already a struggle just because of the heat. I am unfortunately pretty susceptible to heat exhaustion, so even with a hat and everything, I have to be really careful. But that said, we made it happen, and yeah, so there we go. Let's see, another win. Obviously, things are still looking very lush, very vigorous in the garden. We still have tomatoes aplenty. I actually told our next door neighbor, please come by. Come grab some of these tomatoes. We cannot use them all. We have already put up like 3 or 4 sets of tomato sauce. We've done 4 kind of projects of that. Over here, we've got our carrots that we sowed for our fall crop. They're doing well. I have absolutely no idea what that mushroom is. I'm just leaving it. It's gonna live and die and go about its business. I will not be harvesting it. I will not be doing anything. Hopefully its presence is not a bad sign. I just don't know. We've got our beans. These were the Dulcinas. They're coming up really, really nicely. This is our pumpkin on a stick, which is actually a type of eggplant. I'm really, really interested to see how it actually looks once it fruits. So that'll be fun, hopefully, if all goes well. Our teddy bear sunflowers are dying back. And what I've done, you might be able to see here, is I have clipped some of the heads off and I've put them over on our back porch so that they can continue to dry out. And even though they're fairly small, I'm hoping that I can get some sunflower seeds out of there. I'm not doing that as a method to, keep my seeds and replanting later. It is purely, sorry, you may not be able to see while I'm trying to grab these weeds out of here. It's purely I want to try and roast them. Ooh, I walked through this spider web as well. And I know they're going to be really, really small, so it might be an exercise of futility using those. But I also have this big guy, which may have bigger sunflowers in it. And I think that's the sunspot dwarf. It says it's a dwarf, but goodness, sure doesn't look very dwarfy to me. This is the Brad's Atomic, and it has taken over. And I may have to be careful and actually think about just trimming it all the heck back. A, because we have a ton of tomatoes already. We don't really need very many more. And B, because it is kind of shading out the flowers that we have planted over here. And oh my goodness, I didn't even notice. I think that might be the black scabiosa. Woo, bug. Yeah, it's the black knight scabiosa. Oh my gosh. See, that's another good reason for me to get out here and do some trimming, because I would have missed seeing that flower. And this one is the Potomac Orange Snapdragon. So I might just get some more snapdragons if they are able to get the amount of sun that they probably need. How exciting! I have another one here that's a snapdragon. It's getting a lot of shade though, so come on, let's pop you out over here so maybe you can get a little something something. All right, well, so there was another win that I didn't even know of. So, all in all, things still are looking great. In the garden here at the beginning of September. I mean, we still have beautiful nasturtiums. Now, the ones that were in this bin, those died off because they got too covered by the tomatoes. The ones in the back over there are going strong. I mean, these things can last forever as long as you water them. You got to take care of your plants if you want them to take care of you and bring you beauty, etc., etc. So, yeah, those are going on strong because they're still putting out flowers, and they're only in, like one pocket, maybe two, and there's just that little section over there. I'm not going to pull them out yet. They're doing what they do. They're looking beautiful. So, it's not really a difficulty to make sure I water them, every little bit. But anyway, yeah, so that's what's going great.